Okay, so let's have a look at Bitcoin. Let's have a look at my Bitcoin chart and how I'm plotting and planning things on my chart. And I put this video in place because somebody asked me how I've come to the conclusions that I've come to on my chart. You know, why did I put those bars there? Why is that trend line there? Why is your fib there? So I'm going to explain a bit about that, what I'm planning, what I'm plotting. And it's a good video to do it on, right? Because Bitcoin is currently coming down at the moment. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to break that down by using the object tree here and all of the things that I've got in place. I'll have a look at a few indicators and we'll plot some stuff out and have a discussion about it, because I do like having these sort of discussions with people. So thanks for the question. I love these discussions, especially TA people. So let's dive in. Let's dive into Bitcoin on the daily. So don't believe the lies. Time is more important than price. And WD Gann spoke about time being more important than price. So that's what I track. And I'm mainly tracking these consolidation areas here. So we got a consolidation here in March 2023. Okay. Roughly like that. I'm measuring it from the time it entered this range to the exit of the range. Okay. The entry to the exit. And that was 220 days in this range. Okay, and we know it's a good range. Well, I like to track this range because it was built up on the previous bear market to bull market flip. Okay, this was the bear market. Okay, that was the bear market coming to an end, and that's the start of the bull market. And we know that in retrospect now, right? That was the change, and it's been built on it. You can see you got the lines here, and that's the resistance here is now the support here. Okay, sorry about the drawings, but it's the best I can do at the moment. So that's what we were tracking. So 220 days in that consolidation, 72 days in this consolidation. Now, history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes, and that's why I'm tracking this. It's just good to track this. And so what I did is I plotted the 72 days just like it is here, and I also plotted the 220 days like it was down there, like I just showed you. So 72 days in this consolidation area here. Okay, and then we've got 220 days, which takes us out to Friday the 4th of October. So I just like to plot that on my chart. It's quite interesting actually, because the 72nd day here is actually the retest. Okay, it's actually the retest of this down sloping trend line, and I'll explain a bit about that when I get to it as well. So that's a bit about dates. I want to plot this on my chart so I've got an idea of what might come, so it doesn't shake me up when news comes along saying this and that. I've got my charts. I've got plans on my charts. You know, I've plotted stuff on my charts. I've got my indicators ready, and I will make moves depending on what the price does. So cool. That's the time. Let's have a look at one of the next things. What have we got here? Let's have a look at trend lines. So we got trend lines here. You can see this old school trend line here. So trend lines are really good to follow when you want to follow a trend, and then the ranges or the consolidation areas are good to track when you're ranging. Okay, we switch our strategy, and I'm learning that a lot in this bull market myself, to be honest with you. But we know that we was in a bear market from 2021, hit our heads here, hit our heads here. FTX happened on this bar right here. Okay, FTX happened. What did we do? Come back, retest this trend line, and then that was the transition from bull to bear. We know that now, okay? But I still do the same in reverse, okay? Now we're in a bear bull market, so I track the same thing. Let's write to a 5 day. 5 days, so all of these candles are a 5 day. Why am I tracking this trend line here? Why am I tracking the bottom trend line here? Because we've got multiple hit points as support, right? So I'll plot those in. Support here, we've got some support here. It will look a bit more cleaner on a weekly. So that's that there. Why am I tracking this one here? Why am I tracking this one? Because we've got multiple support areas here. One there, second there, and it will continue to be tracked going forward. That's just a guide. Doesn't have to do anything. Bitcoin doesn't have to do anything. Okay, but I've got a hit here and I've got a hit here. So I'm going to plot it out. Okay. Support is support until it's not, and resistance is resistance until it's not. All plans will fail. All trends will fail. This will eventually fail. We might not even get a hit, but I can make a plan so that if it does hit, I decide to go long. Okay, because we're in a bull market. Or perhaps your plan won't be that. Maybe it's if it breaks down, you're looking to get in down here on this longer trend line. Maybe you're doing that, you know, but it's good to have a plan so you don't freak out. So that's what I do with trend lines. Now let's have a look at what I've got here. What's this? Price ranges. So I'm going to put on the price ranges here, which brought up these two numbers, but to make sense of it, I need to put on the ranges here. So I've been tracking this range here, okay, and the numbers there. So basically the two numbers at the top of the range and at the bottom of the range. So here's the top of the range, the white one, and there's the two numbers, 71.9 or 72 grand and 73,800. Bottom of the range, 60,700 and 50,000, pretty much 50k, okay, rounding it up. Cool. That's all I'm interested in this range. We are in a ranging market. We are no longer trending. Macro, we are on this 5-day, we're hitting our head. We've been hitting our head up here every time we come up here, hitting our head there, and we've been finding support at the bottom of the range. It's just a fact. That's just what's been happening. Cool. So we've got that marked out. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the fibs. All right. You know, I like to back out my fibs. I've got a few fibs here. I think I've got 3 different fibs here. So let's explain this first fib that I've got here. And that's here. All right. The fib I'm most interested in at this point is this 50%. That's the 50% of this range. So it's broken it in half. This range here, the 50% level is right here, a common area of interest. All right, I'm tracking that. I also like to track the golden ratio, 618, and specifically to me, the 0.65. I like to have these plotted on my chart. Everything else is noise for me. Okay, anyone else, it might be different. Anything else is noise. Everything else is noise. Until we close underneath here, or we start closing underneath here, my plan for this still stays. This is still going to be on my chart. Until we come out of this, break out, retest, then I can remove all of this. Well, I won't remove everything, but I'll most likely remove the bottom trend line. I'll keep this in because I want to see it used as support. But you get the picture, okay? I change my plan when it breaks, and it will break. To the downside or to the upside, it will break. But I keep monitoring it, and that's what I do, and it helps to not freak me out when certain news articles comes out. Okay, I've been hearing a lot of people get scared of altcoins and stuff like that. That's your business. That is your business if you are overly in altcoins. Bitcoin is king. I always say it. Let me tell you something. When Bitcoin pumps and it goes sideways, it gives room to alts. But if Bitcoin bleeds and bleeds for long enough, it reins them the fuck in. It reins them in, and that won't change. It's not changing at the moment, okay? Maybe when we get much further in the bull market, maybe October, November next year, 2025, that will change. But at the moment, Bitcoin is still king, all right? It's beating the majority of alts out there. There's like 2 million different alts, and Bitcoin is outperforming them, all right? 98% of them. So that's that. Cool. So what have I got on my, is there anything else to kind of go through? Let's zoom in a little bit. I want to go into the 6 hour because we're on the 50%. So it's a great time to actually do a video because everyone's probably going to be scared right now. All right. We came down underneath the 50%. We haven't closed yet. We're on a 6 hour chart. The 6 hour chart hasn't closed this candle yet. Okay. It's telling the story that it's come down from the 50%. Okay. But it hasn't closed. The candles, the facts, the wicks just tell the story, okay? The facts are more important. We're closing currently 6 hour at the moment. This candle hasn't finished yet, but at the moment it's trying to hold up above this 50%. All right. If I was to zoom in a little bit more, let's see what's going on so you can see it. All right. On the hourly, if you was to focus on the hourly, we've broken down below it and it's struggling to go above the 50%. We're struggling. We're just above it, but just ever so slightly. That's why sometimes you got to zoom out. 6 hour isn't zoomed out that much, but you get the picture. Yeah. Cool. So that's that. That's what I've been tracking. What else have I been tracking? Because I don't see my trend line for this down-sloping trend line that I had. But if you've been watching my videos, you know what I was tracking. I was tracking this down-sloping trend line from up here. Okay. This top came in on April, 8th of April. And then we had another top here. And I had a trend line coming down like this. Okay. This is why it's good to have trend lines. I'm still trading a range, but I will have a look at my trend lines. I drew this up here around 12th of April, okay? And this was here as well, 23rd. The fact that we came underneath it in the 50%, this was a textbook trade. That was a textbook trade. That was a textbook short, Okay, a lot of resistance, and it's confluenced. You got the 50%, it's coming up to the 50%, hitting its head like a roof, and then you got the down sloping trend line. The probability of us coming down is much higher than us breaking out and coming on top. Okay, so that's why I shorted that. Short the hell out of it. Comes back up, people get gassed again. We're going up a little bit, pushed back down. The trend line's still there. All right, I like to see a couple of hits on the trend line before I expect a breakout. Then what else did we do? We came back down to the 50%. This is a great spot for me for putting on some spots. Okay, personally. Now I'll put some spots down here because it was the bottom of the trend, the trading range as well. Okay, and that's just the way I play it. I'm paying attention to the trend line, the 50% here, and the top of the range up here. And before I forget, I'm actually forgetting something, which is I forgot to talk about the other 50% that I've got. Now to get these other 50%. Sorry, I'm waffling on here. I'm waffling on, but excuse me. So this 50% here, because I was explaining about the 50% of this range. All right, you can see the 50% there, 66,500. But this 50% comes in from this swing here. All right, this swing low here. Why did I choose to get this swing low here? Because it's the low of this consolidation area. It's the low. It's easier to see if I use my custom indicators that I like to use, my Levi. Okay, Levi Ackerman, real G. That's why I've named it after him. And you can see the swing. The swing's right there. Makes it easy for me to see the swing. Okay, there it is, right there. The WD Gann swing, right there. And that's why I've got my trend line on there. We've got confluence. All right, cool. So that's why I've got my fib there. Did I have another fib? I think I might have. No. Okay, that's all the fibs. Okay, cool. So oh, sorry. The fib that's here, so this 50% here, which is 56,291, that's off of this low to this high. Okay, that's that 50%. This 50%, which is at 44,500, that's off the all-time high. Okay, so that's off the all-time high to the bear market low. Okay, so it's important to plot these out. We got the 50% from here, the 50% from here, and then the bull market low. So cool, that's what we got on our charts. Let me clean it up a bit. Let's remove all the indicators for now, and let's have a look at what I'm doing at the moment. So like, how do I see it at the moment? At the moment, we're coming back down for the 50%. So like, for me, this was quite a good move. I like this. I liked this move. We came up and we came down here, retested again the bottom of this range, and that's where I went long. Okay, that's a good move. I didn't expect us, okay, and you can see we kind of came up 50%, hit 618, 50%, closed above the 50%, pushed up to the range. I didn't expect us to break through this. So this was like a textbook short. Okay, that's like a textbook short. That's a textbook short. Now, where are we now? What I'm doing is paying attention to this 50% here. So I'm going to put on a long here, and I'm also going to put more money on a long here. You know, I like to layer in my bets like a pyramid. I'm going to do that. And I'll also do the same down here up into the 50%. Okay, you can see we got more confluence down here as well. What have we got? We got our trend line. I guarantee if I was to put on the EMAs, it will line up with some of these numbers, the 50%, this trend line, this 50%. I just like to use the 50% and 618s. That's me. But if you put on the EMAs, they're gonna line up. All roads lead to Rome, and depending on how you like to trade, but I like to back up my fibs and use my 50%. That's what I like to do. So that's how I'm trading this at the moment. At the moment, I liked the look of this. Push out, retest of the downsloping trend line, grabbing the 50%, top of the range. I don't mind Bitcoin coming back down to this 50% or the 618 and putting a bet on this long, because that's all we're doing. We're betting and putting probability, trying our best to put probability in our favor. That's what I'm doing. But I'm also well aware I'm also not gonna bet on us pushing out like that, because I'm well aware that we might be here for 220 days, just like we did in the previous consolidation. It might not happen, but I'm being aware of it, that we might be here till October. We might have to catch up to this trend line right here. Okay, it might not happen. That might not happen, but I want to be prepared. Maybe we come up like this, and then we create an ascending triangle pattern, and then we break out. To be honest with you, this would be the healthiest thing Bitcoin could do. To be honest with you, that would give me, put probability in the favor that Bitcoin is gonna push up a lot higher, because this is a spring. this consolidation would be forming a big spring. Okay, and hopefully we don't break down, but you got to have your plans if that does happen. So that's how I'm viewing the market at the moment. Okay, trading the range lows, 50%, and if we get to the high, I short it. One day it's gonna break. Okay, we might break out, we might break down, but until that day, I trade it. Okay, resistance is resistance until it's not. Support is support until it's not, and that's it really. But then again, you know, what do I know? But stay safe out on these crypto streets. It's crazy out there. Yeah, good luck.